Hello, everyone, and good morning. Welcome to our live feed update for August 20th. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today, it's Bobby. How you doing, Bobby?
Hey, Taran, I'm doing all right. Lack of sleep, a little nausea, but hey, we're here. I'm here, you're here. Let's get through this.
We are here. We're here. And we're here to update you on everything that happened yesterday on the Big Brother 22 live feeds. It was day 15 in the house, and there was a lot of attempted campaigning, but also just mostly spinning wheels here today. So this will probably, look, I say this a lot. This will probably be a little bit of a briefer one. There's still a lot that's going on, but none of it's very important in terms
Yeah.
of we've gotten in the direction that we're heading, and it's basically like Nicole is going out kicking and screaming and trying to get as much as she can, but it's not really gaining much traction. So we'll talk about it. We start the day with Franzel, Danny, and Cody. They are in the photo room, just waking up. Franzel, they talk about what Ian told Franzel the day before about the brigade, and how, like, hey, at least Brittany got far in the season. And they're like, okay, well, that's great, but we're gonna have to bring him in an official thing. And so they wake Cody up and they're like, we need to bring Ian into a 4. He agrees, so that's on the docket for the day. They also let him know that Day thinks that there's an all guys alliance going on and that she is campaigning. She actually tried to get Nicole Franzel to vote to get rid of David. And they're like, oh my God, what is Day doing? Why is she doing this? So Cody's like, well, you guys need to push back on that. I can't do it because then this is on protecting my guys alliance. So that's sort of the game plan for the day. They also wake Tyler up, and they're kind of like joking around as they wake people up, which is super annoying in my opinion because they're all sleep deprived, and like, why are you waking people up just for jokes? But they're joking around, like waking Tyler up. Oh, come here, but like. Then they're like, okay, we have to tell you something. Day approached me about this thing about wanting to get rid of David, and don't tell anybody because she's not going to trust me. And then Tyler leaves, and Franzel's just like, I don't know why I told him that. I just panicked. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, just absolute panic running through him at that point. This whole conversation was very, very strange. I still don't get what David was thinking, like even saying that. Like he really put this whole house into a tailspin after hearing that there's a possibility of an all guys alliance.
So Bay is going to talk to Christmas. They feel bad for Nicole because, Nicole is kind of implying that Janelle told her not to play in the safety competition, which is why she didn't. She's going to tell the story later, and it's more that they made her feel comfortable with Memphis to hear her tell it, and that's why she didn't play, and that's one of the reasons why she's annoyed at Janelle, because they made her feel comfortable with Memphis and all of that. Bay said word is going around that there's an all boys alliance. Christmas says, oh, I haven't heard that at all. Nicole says that Nicole leaving will be another woman leaving, and so that's something to maybe think about. But Christmas is like, I don't know. All the women in this house are badasses. I'm not concerned. Remember now, Christmas is fully Team Tyler. Mostly team, Memphis and Cody and all of them. She is pretending she has a good relationship with Bailey, but she is a mole. She's a rat in the works, and anything that is told to her will go to Tyler at the very least, and probably Cody and the rest of them. So keep that in mind as you listen. And she's also there to like put a damper on any potential uprising. Like she is the, she's from like the oppressive government going undercover into like the rebel alliance to be like, hey guys, let's chill a little bit though. Do you think we're being a little too crazy right now? They're like, rise up. And she's like, yeah, but maybe like slightly less volume on that. Maybe should we try and talk to him a little bit first though? And so that's kind of her role at the moment in this situation.
That's a great way of putting it. Like that's exactly how she's playing right now, and that's exactly what her alliance wants from her right now.
Yeah. So they talk about the vote, and Christmas says, I don't want to make a decision not based on game. And I see Nicole as a bigger threat than David in the game. He doesn't know what he's doing. And Bay's like, oh, yeah, that's okay. That's a good point. Bailey says, though, like, but here's the thing. Like, we got to be careful of these people. Like, if I won HOH, I feel like the whole house would try to pressure me into targeting Kaser and Janelle. I don't think I want to do that. And so Christmas says, yeah, just chuck it. Just chuck it. Don't win. Bailey's like, yeah, you're right. That's probably the best move. But Christmas asks, okay, but if you were to win, if you did not go after Kaser and Janelle, who would you go after? Just like, Bailey, stop. No.
Just jump through the screen right now and be like, just don't say anything. Stop it. Yeah, no, she's really starting to put her foot in her mouth right here if she says the wrong thing, because Christmas will just go running. You know, we've seen in season 19, she'll just go run and tell the powers that be exactly everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary.
Yeah. So this time I found a somewhat appropriate gif of the, what was it, Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah.
It's like, it's a wolf. It's not your grandmother. And so Bailey says, I would think, there's some people in here that need to be broken up. I'm not talking about Nicole, Franzel, and Ian. And I'm looking for like the people that you would least expect that might be like a part of this thing. And Christmas is sitting there just nodding like, yeah, people you'd least expect. Yeah. That's who you're targeting. Great. Now, luckily for Bailey, I don't think Christmas like fully caught what Bailey was putting down, which happens a lot, to be honest. Yeah. Like Christmas kind of just like, she says things and people just kind of nod and continue even though they don't understand what she was trying to say. And I think she does the same, where she hears a lot of things that she doesn't fully understand, but she just kind of nods and is like, yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like it takes a few minutes to process, or even then she's still trying to figure out exactly what was truly said. Like I don't know if it's like she's trying to figure out a way to plot against stuff that people are saying, or try to figure out exactly how that works with her game. But it does seem like there's a disconnect there.
Mm-hmm. So the feeds are going to go down for a while. They're practicing the HOH competition, which apparently is going to be a crapshoot. It's some sort of thing with a ball and a score that they get. They had 3 shots at it, and they score 1 or 0, like off the board to up to a 5-point thing. They are anticipating that it might be a knockout competition, yeah. Which would mean that 2 people go up head to head, and then the winner or the loser of the competition of the head to head is eliminated, and the winner chooses 2 more people to go and face off head to head. That is certainly possible. They seem to have that idea that it might be that. If that is the case, then Kaser and Janelle are screwed, because they're just going to get put up over and over, which is not necessarily like fully screwed, because it actually can be an advantage in some cases. And Danny mentions this at one point, that if you face off against people over and over, then you are going to get better and better at the thing, depending on what it is. So it's not necessarily completely going to screw them over, depending on what this is. If there's some sort of skill involved, then it could actually help them. That said, my guess is that it's not a knockout competition. I think that if it's it kind of sounded like it was one of those like you roll the ball down the thing and you try to get it right at the edge. That's the
Yeah.
most. And they've done these before where they're like 2 lanes, and you have 2 lanes so that one person goes and then another person goes, and whoever has the higher score, that person keeps their thing on their lane, and then the next person comes and does theirs. So if I'm guessing, I don't think it's a knockout because they don't usually do knockouts with crapshooty things like that.
And let's be real, I really don't think production would put this game in knowing, 2 people are essentially targeted by the entire house. Like,
Well,
especially fan favorites. I'm not saying that there's stuff there, but I'm saying, don't you think they would kind of set up a different competition or maybe change the rules a little bit?
no,
You don't think so?
to be. I mean, I've said this before. I fully believe they do not change their competitions based on like we've gone through this so many times where like the overwhelming fan favorite that is obviously the production favorite would like overwhelmingly be advantaged if they had a certain kind of competition, or if even just like they switched the order by one, and it doesn't happen. Like they preset the competition orders, and if this is destined to be a knockout competition and that screws over Kaser and Janelle, then that's what it will be, in my opinion.
I hope the house is wrong because this would just be so unfortunate. Like, I get it. Then it gives them time to practice it and really learn what the trick is to do. But that's such a long shot. Like, that's such a like crapshoot situation that you have to be better than everyone else in the house to be able to get to the end. Like, this would be just the worst game, especially in my opinion, for the season. The trajectory that it's going down, I feel like this would just make for a couple boring weeks if it just plays out like this. So I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping that it's just one of those crapshoot competitions, but not one that you have to pick someone to go up against.
Mm-hmm. Listen, guys, Zach Rand says a lot of things. So Janelle is going to talk with Nicole, and this is when we finally get into a few interesting situations here with Nicole and Janelle. Nicole is finally going to like open up about the fact that she doesn't like Janelle and Kaser, and she thinks that they screwed her over. She's like, what's up with your relationship with Memphis? Like, why were you up there for 2 hours with a bottle of wine, acting like, that everything was, you were laughing up there. You're telling me that you're trying to convince him to not put me up, but you're up there with a bottle of wine, having fun with him. And Janelle's like, I was trying to get you off the block. That's what I was doing up there with that bottle of wine. I spent 2 hours campaigning to him to try to get you off the block. And Nicole goes, well, clearly you didn't try hard enough. She gets up. She walks out. It's horse shit. She leaves. Don't follow me. No. Bad news. It's bad news. Janelle just like, I think kind of confused, kind of like what just happened. That was weird.
Yeah.
So that happens. They're also going to, at some point through the day, we didn't catch most of this. I swear it's always with Ian too. Anytime Ian is talking game, like the feeds just cut away from, like they don't want Ian on the feeds talking game. I swear it's always Ian. But we didn't really catch much of the Ian being proposed this idea of like a potential 4-person alliance, but it did happen at some point, clearly. That's coming together. Like Ian is coming together with Franzel, Cody, and Danny, and he seems pretty excited about it as well. Like he's gonna like seem very happy throughout the day, very excited for a good portion of the day at the very least. We're also going to get some David and Bay. She says she hopes he's not just going to run to the guys because he wants to be accepted. Is that what you're going to do? Are you just going to like hang out with them, be with them because you want to like be one of the guys. He says, no, there are things more important than that going on. I'm gunning for Memphis. That's my goal.
Yeah, and hey, if Memphis is the one you're going after, sure thing. But I don't know if I necessarily believe it. Do you believe that that's the target?
Oh yeah, I believe that he's going after Memphis.
I just feel like maybe there's a chance he won't. I
well,
don't
who
know.
else does he go after?
I don't know. Part of me feels like maybe he goes after like a Cody or something. I don't know. I don't know. I just get the strange feeling that maybe he's playing double agent. I don't know.
Why would
no
he?
one really
why
knows.
would he not tell? Like if he was going after Cody, he would tell Bailey about it, and he would lie to Tyler and Cody about it.
I don't know. Something I can't read him and I can't figure it out. And I don't know why I distrust him, but I don't believe sometimes what he's saying. Like, I don't know if it's the way that he comes across or,
all right, Davon, but that doesn't mean that he's against you.
I know. Maybe I'm looking into this too hard. And about your whole Nicole A thing with Janelle, like up in talking to Memphis, I totally agree with you. It's absolutely absurd. Like they have been doing nothing but fighting for her all week, and Nicole just cannot figure it out. There's just no way that she's been able to figure it out. She just thinks that they're against her. I don't want her to feel bad when she gets out of the house and like sees it because it's just a game. But man, I know she's going to be beating herself up after this.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's very wrong.
She's so wrong.
Cody's going to talk with Tyler a little bit. He says to Cody that he let David know that Day is trying to get him out. But the problem is that David doesn't believe it. So Tyler approached David and was like, dude, Day's campaigning to get you out of this house. And David was like, I don't believe you. I don't think it's true. And so they're like, I don't know. And I think that Tyler is starting to let go of David a little bit. I think he's starting to realize that like this guy, I'm trying to tell him that he can't, that like Day is trying to get you out because she is. Well, she's like back and forth about it, but she is. And David like for sure is like, that's impossible. And it should be becoming clear to Tyler that David is fully on board with Day and Bay more so than Tyler. That's clear to me, at least. I think that Tyler might start to be seeing it as well. But they're still keeping him this week.
Yeah, and he still thinks that there's an outside chance that I feel like he can put him back in his back pocket. I think maybe this will give him a motivation to possibly target them in the near future so that he is his only piece. He can only go to Tyler. So I think that's an option for him. I do agree with you, though. I think that he's starting to figure it out and starting to feel like, okay, maybe he's not as close to me as I once thought he was. So I think look out for maybe Day being a target here soon for Tyler if David really starts to go to that side, because I can see that possible.
Mm-hmm. So Nicole is going to talk with Janelle again after a brief period of Nicole going and complaining to a bunch of other people first. After that conversation she had with Janelle earlier, she went to Cody and she's like, "Can you see me right now? I'm shaking. So mad." So she goes to they reconvene, they talk again, and this is when Janelle finds out that she is the mastermind that got Nicole nominated and is potentially getting her sent home. Janelle is literally like, "What are you talking about? You think that I orchestrated this? Like I am some mastermind that masterminded this plot to put you on the block? Like that's, I mean, I guess I'm kind of flattered that you think I'm that kind of player that's capable of doing something like that, but no, that's not me. That's not how I play. Also, hold on, how does that benefit me in any way? How does that even make any sense?"
Yeah, she's finally being the voice of reason here. And I know it starts to possibly click a little bit, but Nicole just keeps going back to, no, 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 no. This is all lies. This is all lies. She's just going against me. Like she's starting to figure out a little bit here and there. But man, Janelle, I feel so bad for them. They're trying so hard. And she's absolutely right. How does that make sense? Why would she do that? If Nicole goes, they think their game is done. So there's really no incentive for them to ever target her towards Memphis, towards the other people in the house. Like everyone is so brainwashed into thinking Janelle and Kaser are bad news that no matter what they do, even when they try to help people, they hurt their own game.
Yeah. So Janelle's going to leave and she's going to send Kaser in. Kaser is much better than Janelle at like talking to people.
Yes.
Just like, which honestly, like, he's not even, I love Kaser. He's not even that great sometimes. But there are specific moments where Kaser is really good at talking to people.
Yes.
This was one of them, even though it still doesn't work. Yeah. But this was great from Kaser. So Kaser goes and talks to Nicole, and she tells him, like, I feel like you guys screwed me, that you guys didn't care. And Kaser's like, and also, like, Kaser, you kind of stole my thunder. I was a little bit looking forward to telling Nicole that Janelle cried about her campaign. But Kaser says, what are you talking about? Janelle literally cried to me because she was so upset that we couldn't save you because she cares about you that much. Like, we have been putting in so much work, putting our lives on the line in the game to help you. We have been doing everything in our power. Janelle's been upset about it. I've been upset about it. We are not trying to set you up. And Nicole's like, if that's true, like, I'm sorry. I've been like trashing you to everyone. I'm not going to lie. I've been really mad at you guys. I've been saying a lot of things to everyone that I'm mad at you guys and that I'm frustrated and that I'm coming for you. And Kaser's just like, it's okay. I get it. I understand. After everything you went through on your season, coming back right away, this house does things to you. I get it. And she's kind of crying. And they literally have a Goodwill Hunting moment. It's just like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Nicole.
This spot was it was so awesome to watch because that was the best thing he could have said. When she said that she has been trashing him in front of the rest of the house, the fact that he said, listen, it's okay. It's not a problem. Like, it's fine. I think that's when it started to click in her head. Oh, wait, I think they're telling the truth here. Because if they were really mad or if they were upset about this, they would go off. Or if they were actually trying to get me out, they would have a problem with this. But clearly they're trying to help save me. So this is their compassion for me because they want me to be here. I think this is really where it started to click in her head. Okay, I think I've been wrong on this.
Mm-hmm. Especially because he's like, I'm still gonna fight to keep you, Nicole. Like, I don't care that you've been trashing us. Like, we're still on board with you.
Perfect thing to say.
Yeah. Well, so Nicole goes to Kevin. And she says to Kevin, I think Kaser and Janelle have been on my side. I think we've been wrong. I just told them all this stuff, and they were like, they don't even care. Like, we're still going to try and keep you. And they were just kind of like sad that I did that. And Kevin's like, oh, man. But I don't know. But what? There's still things that are not adding up to me. Like, why did they say this about Memphis? And why did this happen over here? Don't you remember all of these points that we came up with when we were trying to rationalize this? And she's like, you are right. There are things that don't add up. And just like that.
She's in just such a state right now that I feel like this house is really getting to her. Like, one minute she can believe one thing, another she can be convinced of another. I mean, I feel bad for her. I feel like Nicole is really feeling the heat of the house right now. And I wish I could just shake Kevin because I'm just like, no, she's telling the truth. Like, they're saying the right thing to you. Like, they want to help you guys. And if you guys don't go this direction, it's ruining your own game. But we're on the outside looking in. There's nothing we can do.
You can literally see it happen, that accepting that they were wrong means that they have to, like, it opens up this big, like, dastardly pit of grief and pain of like, oh my god, I've done such terrible things, that they have to confront if they admit that they're wrong. And so Nicole is staring at this pit of like grief, and she's like, oh my god. And Kaser opens up the pit and she starts to fall into it, and she's like, this sucks. And she says to Kevin, we were wrong, join me in this pit of grief and pain. And he looks down at it and he's like, oh my god, I'm falling into the pit. I don't want to go down there. Any reason to get out. No, wait, things don't add up. Oof. Oh, no, I'm not going down there. We were not wrong. We were not wrong, Nicole. And she's down there and she's like, really? There's a way to get out of this? Oh, yes, we weren't wrong. Help me up. Yes, no more grief and pain. We were not wrong. We were in the right.
Yeah, holding on to any bit of hope that she can. You're absolutely right. Like that's exactly her game all day yesterday. It was just hanging by a thread, seeing if she can pull on something, see if she can tug some kind of rope to really get her out of the hole that she's in, and just nothing seemed to be working.
Yeah. All right. So Janelle and Kaser have a conversation about what just happened with Nicole. Janelle is just like, what is wrong with her? Why is she mad at us? We didn't do anything wrong. This is so stupid. And Kaser's like, hey, Janelle, be nice. We have to be understanding. It messes you up doing seasons back to back. It's hard. It's hard. And she went through something traumatic. And Janelle's like, no, we did seasons back to back and we were fine. And Kaser's like, I wasn't. Like, it sucked. I was not fine. I was not okay. She's like, I did 2 seasons back to back and I was fine. Why isn't she fine? And Case is like, look, we got to understand, it's a tough thing. Like, we can't be that hard on it. Like, yes, it's annoying, but we can't be that hard. And I'm literally watching like the internet conversation about Nicole play out between Kaser and Janelle.
It's so funny. It's so true, because watching Kaser, he's just like the voice of reason for anything. It's like, listen, everyone reacts differently. She's coming off back-to-back seasons. It wasn't easy for me. I can see how it's not easy for her. And Janelle's just so in game mode that she's just like, no, there's no way. She has to be fully in. There's no way she could be feeling the opposite. This is ridiculous. Yeah. No, there's just Janelle. Someone put it in the chat, Janelle lacks empathy, and that's completely correct. Like, she just doesn't have that when she's in game mode.
Yeah. So Danny's gonna talk with Ian a bit. That Ian wants to bring in Tyler to their alliance. Ian's like, hey, we're talking about this for. What if we brought in Tyler? He's great at competitions, big threat. I'd rather have him with us than against us. He is Cody on day 1 right now. Running through the same thought processes that Cody was when he was forming his things. He's like, I feel like Tyler would be a good addition. But Danny doesn't agree. She says, I don't think we can trust Tyler. I don't think that's a good move. Ian's like, okay, well, maybe like Enzo, like Tyler or Enzo. Like we should grab somebody. And the feed's cut because we can't hear Ian talk game.
Yeah.
And not cut like, oh, it's, starfish. It cuts to just like a group conversation of talking about, like, I don't know, cars or something, like something dumb.
That's the most infuriating thing when that happens, when they go from people clearly talking about game that you're actually interested in to just people talking about, Enzo's farts or something. Like, it just drives me absolutely up the wall when they do that.
I mean, look, Enzo's farts are entertaining at the very least. Right.
Hey, there's something. I mean, I don't know if I can deal with it all season long, but it's destroying the house apparently.
Yeah. So Danny goes and talks to Cody and Nicole Franzel, and she lets them know that Ian is talking about wanting to bring in Tyler into this group. And she said she doesn't trust Tyler. She doesn't want to do it. And Cody says, "Oh, I said the same thing to him." And Nicole's like, "Yeah, he asked me the same thing, and I said the same thing too." And they're like, "Oh, this guy's testing us for sure." Yeah. Good thing we all said we don't trust Tyler because we were prepared for this test. And so they're like, okay, we're not doing that. We're just gonna, it's us four. And so Danny also says, be careful of Tyler. Danny is now back. Like Danny, as we know, did not like Tyler on his season. Very anti-Tyler. She came into the season very anti-Tyler. Met him, was like, he's nice. Is now working with him, but like anytime Tyler is not like perfect, she reverts back to, I knew it. I knew I was right to not like you. And so the latest thing that Tyler did to Danny is that he only recently told her about the fact that he found out that Day was now skeptical of Danny after the whole Day tells Danny that Tyler approached her about an alliance and blah, blah, blah. That ever since then, which was like 2 days ago, Day has been a little sketchy on Danny, and Tyler let her know just today. And so she's like, why didn't he tell me earlier? I knew he was bad. We need to watch out for Tyler. We gotta be careful about him. And like every time she does this, you can tell that Cody is like about to defend Tyler, and then was like, nah. I'm not gonna bother.
It's very true. Like Danny's got a clear objective in her mind that she doesn't want to be working with Tyler very much longer in this game. Like I feel like that relationship's really going to possibly, after this whole Jacer thing happening, if they are able to get them out of the house, I feel like that could come to fruition sooner than we think. And part of me feels like Danny, I feel like she's jumping in a little too strong at times. Like I feel like she tries to push her agenda a little bit much with the other people in her alliance, even and other people in the house. I think that she's in a good spot right now. I don't think she needs to push as hard as she does. And at times, I feel like it's a little off-putting, especially when these people are working with her.
Yeah. And Tyler feels the same way about Danny as well. Like I think Tyler also, I think he saw those tweets. And I think he came in not liking Danny. And I don't think he ever liked Danny. And he is very anti-Danny. I think when he talks to Cody about anti-Danny stuff, I think Cody is actually more receptive. That's my read on it. So they talk about the Day situation and how Danny's just now finding out that Day doesn't trust her about it. And they're like, oh my God, it's Day. She's constantly, this is her game. She throws out fake information all the time to test people, but it just blows up her own game. It's so bad. Like, what is the purpose? I'm like, and I'm just like, guys, we talked about this days ago. Get on the podcast. This is old news. Stop repeating our conversations on the feeds.
Yeah, they really need to stop listening to Rob Has a Podcast, inside the house. I feel like they're learning too much of our inside information watching the season.
Yeah. They're done. They're done with Day. Cody
says,
says,
they're done.
If Janelle or Kaser come down off the block next week, if I'm HOH, I'm putting Day up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think Day is in a terrible spot in this house. I think that she's really dug herself a hole, and people just don't trust her anymore. She's just gone and run around to the wrong people at the wrong times. And I think that she's shown her hand. And if she didn't get on board this week with saving Nicole, I feel like just like Janelle and Kaser, I think she's in a really, really tight spot. I think that she's got a lot of people that are looking at her being like, okay, you might be the next one to go. So she's got to be careful.
Yeah. He later is going to say that to Enzo. He's going to be like, Enzo, done with Day. Putting her on the block if Kaser or Janelle come down. And he's like, wait a minute. No, that's really dumb. No, I'm not going to do that. That's a bad idea. It's just going to show her that I'm against her, and we're not going to vote her out anyway. Never mind. Not going to do that. Cancel that plan.
Yeah, really, really wanted to show that he's not against her at this moment.
Yes, but indicative of her current position in the hierarchy.
True, very true.
Nicole, after talking with Kaser and Janelle and feeling like, I don't know, maybe they're maybe a little bit on my side, I don't know, she decides that she needs to go and talk to Memphis on Janelle's advice, just to lock that in. So they are going to go and have a talk about, like, where Memphis stands, if it comes to a tie, stuff like that. So Nicole goes up into the HOH room and she's like, hey, I just wanted to check in, see, if this might come down to a tie. And if it does, I wanted to know, like, are we good? And Memphis says, yeah, well, we'll see what happens, I guess. Great talk.
Memphis, I want to just shake him. Come on.
Literally, they came in about 20 to 30 seconds of exactly what I just said. And it was like that Simpsons gif where he comes in, grabs the stuff, and walks right back out the door. It was very fast.
That is very true. It was just like that gift. I don't know. He drives me crazy. He's had such HOH-itis all week that it's really gone to his head. We get it. You didn't win an HOH your entire season the first time you played. I get you're excited, but man, oh man, you got to think about the end game here. What if David wins? Like, I still have my doubts about David, but I know everyone believes that that's 100% who his target is. So he needs to stop putting his foot in his mouth because it's just getting ridiculous for his game.
Nicole's going to talk with Ian. She says she's got 6 votes, but he could be the 7th to put her over the top and not have to rely on Memphis. Ian's like, whoa, I didn't realize. Well, I don't know. She says, and look, and if I win and I stay and you're the 7th vote, if I win that safety comp, you will be my +1. Ian's like, wow, this is new information. Before I was probably like 66% leaning toward keeping David. But now probably closer to 55% leaning toward keeping David. So congrats.
So monotone in that speech too. I think that David, no matter what, has the numbers here. I think Ian will side with that side. I commend Nicole for putting in that last second effort, especially what we see late night last night, but it's just not looking good for her.
Ian's also going to talk to Janelle. Janelle's going to campaign for it hard. He says, look, I'm 55%. That's where I'm at. I'll let you know where I fall with the vote. He also says that if he wins the HOH next week, he will not nominate her and Kaser. He asks, how many times have you been nominated next to Kaser? She says twice. Season 6 and season 7. Both times. And he says, look, if I win HOH, I will not put the two of you on the block together. Or at the very least, we'll work something out. It won't be in that configuration. I saw a lot of people talking about this conversation as like, Ian will not put Kaser or Janelle on the block. Yay. I did not get that vibe from this conversation. I got the vibe that I will not specifically in that configuration put you on the block against Kaser. I got the sense that he's going to do like, okay, I'm going to put you against Memphis. Or you know what I mean? Like I did not get the sense that Ian is going to keep them both safe 100%.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I totally took from that conversation that he doesn't want to see both of them up against each other, but he doesn't necessarily want to ruin his position in the House by not at least nominating one of them.
Because as we know, he wants to keep Kaser around. So I think what he's saying is he's not going to put up Kaser because he doesn't want to risk Kaser going home over Janelle. He actually talked about that too. He said, if you went up on the block next to Kaser, who would go home? And she said, well, historically, it's always been Kaser. It's always, they've always targeted Kaser first. They always think he's more dangerous. And so I think that it popped up into his mind like, okay, I can make this promise. It's true. I think he also doesn't really plan on winning the HOH himself anyway.
What do you think are the odds if if Kaser and Janelle go up against each other, who do you think goes? Who do you think's the actual target?
Janelle would be the target, but Cody and Memphis and a few others would definitely push for Kaser, so it could be close.
Yeah, I think it'd be very close.
Yeah. So Kevin's going to talk with Dave Vaughn. They have a few conversations throughout the day. Kevin is really trying to talk Dave Vaughn out of keeping David, but also telling her that David is probably better for their games because Kevin's all over the place. But in this conversation, he's actually hitting the nail on the head. He says, look, why don't we just use Janelle and Kaser as numbers and keep Nicole this week? And then we'll have them as numbers. Like, that'll be fine, but we'll have Nicole, we'll have them as numbers, we'll have a group. And Day says, can't do it. The other side is too good at competitions. Can't draw lines like that. We'll get picked off. And Kevin says, if they're so good at competitions, why do we want that to have on the other side the comp winners and the numbers? Why would they win comps and they have the numbers if we let them have the numbers? Why would we do that? That makes it worse.
Exactly. This is exactly what they should have been thinking from the get-go. Like, obviously, if the other side has numbers, if they have comp threats, you need as much on your side, as much ammo as you can get to take them out, because otherwise you guys are just sitting ducks and it's just going to be one after the other. And I don't get how it's taken to this point for them to really realize it. Like, they need each other. They need the numbers to be able to make any possibility of a move going forward. Like, finally, Kevin is actually speaking some truth here and actually figuring it out for himself. Now, I don't know if it'll ever happen. I'm wondering if something can change today, but they need to make this happen, or I think all of their games are really in trouble.
Yeah. So Bailey's going to get kind of annoyed. She's not in a good mood. And it's becoming clear that people are associating her with Janelle, and Janelle is running around trying to save Nicole, and she's realizing that she's starting to get caught doing some of this stuff. So she's gonna get a little upset at Janelle to be like, I keep getting associated with you. This is not very fun. And Janelle's like, I'm sorry. Like, jeez, what do you want me to do? I'm not saying your name. She's like, I'm not saying you're saying my name. But I'm being associated with you, and it's dragging me down, and I don't want that. And Janelle's like, I'm sorry. So Nicole decides to throw a last-ditch effort meeting that okay, we're gonna get all of my potential votes together. And just make one more pitch that we just all get together as a group, as an alliance, and work together. So they call the meeting. It's Kaser, Janelle, Nicole, Kevin, Davon, Bailey, and Christmas.
The wolf in sheep's clothing.
Christmas. They call the meeting and they sit in the love room, the three of them, Nicole, Kaser, and Janelle, for a while, like, they're not coming, are they? They really didn't want to. We called and they were like, maybe later. But eventually they get them in because Kaser goes out and rounds them up. And Kaser gets on the stand. He pitches. He says, "Look, there are times in your life where you need to stand up. We need to band together. If we ever want to have agency in this game, we need to band together. We need the numbers. Numerically, statistically, it makes sense. We're heading into a crapshoot competition. The percentages will be worse if David is in the house and Nicole is not. They will have one extra number and we will have one less. You cannot let them win. You cannot let them have these numbers." Because they will not be able to be stopped. We need to band together now.
Kaser for president. Like, let's see it happen, because he is one that can easily, say what's on his mind and really be persuasive with it. It didn't necessarily work here, but oh my gosh, I was eating up everything he was saying.
Yeah, the response to this speech was crickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing. Day says, look, you've lied. This is a shaky foundation. I don't know how we can trust this. This is not a solid place to build from. You guys have been shady. And Kevin chimes in. He's like, yeah, and I've been omitted from your conversations. Like, why would I join you now just because I know that you need me, but before you weren't including me on anything? Like, now you want me, but before you didn't. And Bay chimes in like, I don't understand why. Like, okay, why? How come Memphis is only telling you, you two, Janelle and Kaser, that he'll vote out David? But to everyone else, he's saying he doesn't care. So we could have 6 votes right here. But what happens if Memphis doesn't do what you said? Day says, yeah, like, what if the 6 of us vote and then Memphis keeps David? We're screwed.
Yeah.
We're screwed.
And they totally don't believe that they will actually have the number. That they will actually have Memphis's side or Memphis's vote to evict David. I think they truly believe that that's not really a possibility. I think that they think that Nicole's gone no matter what, because that's been the talk all week. So I think in their heads, and I get it, I totally understand from their game perspective where they're coming from, that it's too risky of a move, because now they'll draw the line in the sand and they'll be clearly on the outside looking in. Like I totally am 100% on board with what Janelle and Kaser are trying to do here. They need to make this happen. It has to happen for their games and for those people's games as well, outside of maybe Christmas. And if they make this move, it'll be an exciting season. We'll actually see an other side of the house forming and something to really go against this power alliance. And if it doesn't, I fear that we're just going to see one after the other.
Yeah. So Day says if we do this and Memphis keeps David, we're screwed. And Kaser says, I promise that will not happen. We have him. I promise. Bay says, don't promise. Don't do that. Because you can't promise that. They're like, okay, well, what if we get Memphis? What if we get him to tell you guys that he's on board? And they're like, I don't know. And so they're like, all right, well, we'll let you guys talk. We know you hate us. And Janelle and Kaser leave. And Nicole says to the rest of them, I don't know what to make of them. I know they suck, guys. And Bay jumps on it. She's like, yeah, exactly. I hope you understand, but this foundation is shaky. We can't operate on this. And Nicole says, okay, but to just take them out of it. I know they suck. I know they're terrible. I know we don't like them. I know we want to target them. But just imagine that the rest of us, we're in a 5-person alliance and they're just 2 extra votes. They're just extra votes for us, right? And Christmas finally starts talking, and this is Christmas like, let's just chill a little bit. Christmas, well, you can't take them out of it. It's guilty by association. They muddy the waters, and we'll get all muddy. And Bay says, exactly. I didn't even want to be here. I'm having a bad day. And Kaser's all up in my face asking if I want to join in this room. That is not okay. I don't like that. I'm trying to be Zen Bay.
Nicole's really at this point figuring out her game's pretty much toast.
That's exactly. And Kevin says, and yes, and you know what? They didn't do anything to repair the week that they campaigned against me. And at this point, Nicole's just like, you know what, guys? Though. I could give a shit about all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm biased, but who cares about any of that? I don't like them either, but we need their votes. Please, just keep me here. We need to do something. But they're basically just like, sorry.
Yeah.
It's Kaser and Janelle's fault. We can't do it.
They're like, it's not, any kind of indication of your personal behavior or how we think of you. You're just, you were in the crosshairs and you're just the, innocent bystander that's going to be taken out. I can see her just stewing, be like, you're kidding me, right? So you're just going to allow this to happen. She's like, each one of you knows what it's like to go home. So this is crushing to my game. And each one of you is possibly going to be put in this position in the future. And you're going to be looking back at this as an opportunity where you could have taken control of your game. And you're not doing that. And now I'm the one who's going to have to take the hit because of it. And they're like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, we love you though. Like, this isn't a shot against you as a person. Like, we love you.
It's not you. It's
oh
them.
my gosh. If I could reach through the TV screen at that point, I was just like, you guys need to wake up.
So not looking great there for Nicole. Bay is also then going to immediately run to the photo room and fill them in on everything that just happened. Tell them the whole story about everything that Kaser and Nicole and Janelle, they sat us in this room. They're like, oh, we need to fight the power. And I was like, yeah, right. Obviously, and that's Kevin was in there like doing Kevin things, and Christmas and Day were in there, and like we weren't having none of it, obviously, because we're like loyal to you guys, Slick Six. So just so you guys know. And Tyler's like, oh, this is great. Thanks for telling us. I mean, what you should keep pretending to be on that side, Bay. Like act like you're gonna be voting that way, and then let them vote that way. Kaser, Janelle, Kevin, they'll vote that way. So and Memphis is with them. That's 4 people. So that's the other side. Those 4. They're the ones that are screwed, and the rest of us are good. And she's like, awesome. And so Bay leaves. And the rest of them start laughing. Can you believe they included Christmas in that meeting? Oh my God, that's so funny. Oh man. Oh wow. Well, we're really glad Bay told us that, right? She's great. We love Bay. But this just further confirms how against us Davon is, right? Like Davon is never telling us any of this. So that's again, we just, as if we needed more information on Day being sketchy.
It was terrible for Davon. Like, she's clearly looking like someone that's 100% against them. Like, the fact that Danny eavesdropped, and the main person that she was really offended by was Day in this conversation, I feel like. So I think that Day's game is really starting to sink.
Mm-hmm. So that's basically what's going on. As I said, no real shifts here. They're mentioning, yes, Danny at one point did sort of eavesdrop in on the thing, and they were laughing about it before Bay even came in. So this is the situation that the Nicole still is going home. Things are still not working out well for Nicole or Janelle or Kaser. And Nicole is still like not trusting Janelle and Kaser. Like, as I said, nothing has really changed all that much. But I do want to say, like, we've talked a lot about Davon and Bailey and how they've handled the week. And I feel like there's an interesting contrast here, where, because you look at Davon and Bailey, and they were talking about Memphis during the day as well, right? They were talking about Memphis and how Memphis is trying to play both sides. Obviously, he's playing with Janelle and Kaser. He's playing with us. He's trying to keep himself covered on all sides. He's doing what he wants. He's not protecting the alliance. All of those things. But he trusts us, right? Memphis actively made moves that benefited him and were detrimental to his alliance to put himself in a better position, pissed off his alliance, but they're still working with him and they're not targeting him anytime soon. Davon and Bailey are not taking the actions to improve their own position. They are not aligning with Janelle and Kaser. They are not planning necessarily on winning HOH or targeting this Cody or anything. Like, they are actively trying to appease the bigger group, the bigger power, through their actions. But they're showing that they don't trust them. And so they're getting the exact opposite results of Memphis, where Memphis has improved his position by defying his alliance, but showing that he trusts them and that they don't have to worry about him questioning them. Devon and Bailey have openly shown how much they don't trust their alliance and that they're not really with their alliance, but they're through their actions continued to empower that alliance. Opposites.
Yes, very much so. And maybe it's a older seasons thing to a newer age seasons thing. Maybe there's some kind of compare contrast situation going on because it's an old school gamer and a new school gamer. It's very, very interesting to see because you see the dynamics in the house. You see where one side is coming from and how it's affecting their game, and then complete opposite with Memphis. So it's very, very interesting to watch.
And the thing they say again about Memphis is that, like, yes, he's playing both sides, but he trusts us. Like, yeah. There's something to be said about Memphis's like you can handle your own mess, right? Like Memphis stands on his own, and he does not question his alliance. He does not show that he doesn't trust them. He shows that he does trust them. He is willing to, keep them around. Like, he's not willing to do their dirty work, but he's not going to question their loyalty. He's not going to turn on them in the same way that Devon and Bailey have expressed a lot of concern toward their alliance. They've lied to their alliance. They're like actively thinking about flipping this vote, but then not following through with it. And so the end result is that the alliance doesn't trust the people that don't trust them. Like, the way to handle a situation like this is to pretend that you trust your alliance fully, and wait for your move. That's what Memphis is doing, and it's not what Bailey and Devon are doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you. I think that there's some kind of difference. There's some kind of takeaway that is preventing them from being really on the same page as what Memphis is doing. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's other things considered for it, but there's something out there that's preventing them from getting in with this alliance by basically doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. So that's what we have for the day. There will be an episode tonight, an eviction episode, where we expect Nicole will be evicted from the Big Brother 22 house, and we'll be there to recap it afterward. I'm also going to be on Twitch today, probably around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern, to talk about the stock watch. If you have any questions there that you have about the stock watch that you want to talk about, I will be there to answer your questions. We'll talk about advice for who to buy, who to sell, anything like that.
I see your stock is doing pretty well so far. I'm like, okay, I just got to see where Taran's at. That's because this is my first time playing. So I'm like, this is where Taran's at. I got to match you. I got to get there. I got to figure out your strategy.
You got to watch the stream. Twitch.tv/
gotta watch it.
Taran Armstrong. Check it out. I'll be live today, and then probably we'll see what happens after the eviction as well. After the podcast, maybe go live to watch some eviction night HOH, new HOH feeds. See where it goes there. But that's what we've got going on. Of course, tomorrow I'll be back at 11 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today and tonight on the Big Brother 22 live feeds. So, Bobby, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Goodsby Bobby. I'm also writing articles for ProgrammingInsider.com on this season of Big Brother, where I do the Vegas odds for each player to win and to make jury each week for everyone, all the house guests in the house. And it's really exciting. My buddy Doug got me the opportunity, so I'm excited to announce that. So if you want to check it out, go to ProgrammingInsider.com. And real quick, Taran, what do you think the odds are that Nicole can turn this thing around today? Do you think like a 50-1 odds, 100-1 odds, 1,000-1 odds? What do you think?
It's not happening.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
There's nothing she can say.
It's not happening. It's just not happening.
All right, man.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.